would like to talk to you today about the three buckets that make up absolutely every single business. These are the three financial buckets. What are those three buckets? Well, they're really simple. They're revenue, which is money generation, money coming into the business. We love that bucket. The next bucket is one of those accounting things where it's named something that makes no sense. It's the profit bucket, but that bucket's really focused on our regular, normal expenses, the money that is typically going to be coming out of the business every month to cover our operating expenses. And then the third bucket is our cash flow bucket. And that bucket's all about the availability of money in your business over time. So let's take a look. Let's talk about these buckets. So the first one, again, revenue. This is money generation, money coming into our business. And if we're looking to try and troubleshoot and figure out which of these buckets is giving us the most hassle, which ones we need to be digging into deeper, these are some of our questions, right? So if we suspect that we may have an issue with our revenue, with getting that money in, then we're just going to be asking a lot of questions. We're going to be asking, for example, okay, well, what do I sell? And based on what I sell, how often do people buy it and how much do they pay for it? Is it something that should be happening regularly and reliably, maybe on like an auto ship? Or is this something that's usually a one off, like a kitchen remodel? Chances are you're not remodeling your kitchen every 30 days, but hey, maybe, who knows, right? You've got a very interesting kitchen going on, but chances are you're not. So it's really understanding your business, what you sell, who you sell it to, how often they should or shouldn't be buying this from you, and what kind of quantities, right? Understanding all of this means that you're going to really understand your ideal client, and understanding your ideal client is half of the sale, right? If you know exactly who should be buying, how often, when, where they're at, what they look like, what do they smell like on Tuesdays, then you are able to really get a message to them that is going to pre-sell your services. So when they find you, they're like, please just take my money, right? So the next one is our profit bucket, which again, I'm sorry, it's accounting people. Don't blame the messenger. They named it what they wanted to, right? But if we feel like, wow, we're just spending a lot of money, what is going on? This is the area you want to be looking at. So we talked about what we sell. Here's where we talk about the cost to the business of what we sell. You know, what team members are taking care of this, and include your contractors if you have contractors who are assisting in producing what you sell. We want to be looking at the supplies and the costs of what we are selling. So, hey, maybe we need to do a pricing adjustment because we haven't in a long time and tariffs weren't around, but they're around now. So, being aware of those costs, as well as the other costs in your business. What are we looking at when it comes to our general overhead, right? How much are we spending on red swing line staplers? How much do we have on our office supplies? What's our rent looking like? Are we in the right building? Do we need a bigger building? How often are we reviewing our processes, our systems, all of this other stuff that comes with running a business that is an expense? Maybe we can make adjustments here, maybe we can't, and we need to make adjustments to pricing of what we sell. Or maybe we find, hey, you might think that your business is being sustained by one item that you sell, and it turns out something else is actually the big breadwinner. Digging in when you feel like you're just spending a whole lot of money all the time really can uncover some amazing opportunities in your business so that you can move it forward. You can be more cognizant of what you're spending in order to get that sale. I also want to touch on marketing here. Please spend money on marketing. I love that you know who you sell to, but if they can't find you, then how can they buy from you? If you aren't spending anything in marketing and you feel like your sales have stagnated, then you really need to take a look at marketing, because that's where I find a lot of people might not be spending the money that they should be. And then our last bucket, my favorite bucket, is our cash flow, which is availability of money in your business at any given time, right? How much money are we probably going to have on the first of the month? How much are we probably going to have on the 15th, on the 30th, on the 10th? Being aware of that helps us to better figure out when we should be seeing the money, how much we should be seeing at any given time. And if it's up and down and all over the place, then yeah, we've probably got something going on in our cash flow bucket. Maybe we need to make sure that our invoices are going out on time and we have a follow-up system in place. It could be an issue where we are paying our bills before we get paid. Classic example is if you have invoices that go out and you give them 30 days to pay, but your bills are all due on the 1st and the 15th of every month, and someone's taking 30 days to pay you, well, then you're paying other people way too quick. So either you need to see if you can extend things so that you can take a little bit longer to pay your bills and your vendors, or you need your clients to be paying you faster. Also, within this is how are we funding our business? If you find that you are taking out a lot of debt to fund the business, be that putting everything on credit cards or taking out short term loans or just taking out more and more loans long term to keep the business afloat, that is definitely an issue with cash flow, and it's probably an issue with some of your previous buckets as well. And in here as well, like, hey, do you have machinery that you're keeping up on because you really don't want that truck to break down on you out of nowhere or that piece of equipment? Are we doing our maintenance, right? We're just really looking at everything in our business. And inventory, make sure you've got a system for it, right? I'm preaching to the choir. You know how to do this stuff. But for me, the biggest number one issue that I will see that tells me something's going on with our cash flow is, and really just a big issue for every business, is if the owner is putting their own money back into the business. What I want to see for any successful business is the owner is taking money out and the business is still funding its own expenses. It's funding its own operation costs with plenty left over for the owner to take out what they deserve to be paid. That is probably one of my biggest red flags when I'm looking at a business to see how well it's functioning and if there's a problem in the buckets, is if I see that problem in our cash flow bucket that the owner's constantly putting money back in. I know that we really need to start fixing things as soon as possible because there's only so long that you can do that before everything is going to be done. So, if you're feeling issues with you're not making enough money, money's not coming in, check out your revenue bucket. If you feel like money is just flying out of your hands faster than you can think, take a look at your profit bucket expenses. Take a look at that, right? And if you feel like there's just no stability when it comes to the money in the business, you don't know when it's going to be there, at what time, or how much it's going to be, then take a look in your cash flow bucket and start doing a little detective work. You can also take a look at my freebie. It's 10 questions every CEO must be able to answer about their business. You'll probably find some answers in there as to what's going on. And hey, see which bucket you're having the most challenges with. Start making those changes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you staying with me. Let me know if you like having presentations like this. Happy to do more of that, whatever it is that works for you and moves your business forward. So with that, thank you so much for joining me today. Go forth and profit, everybody.